Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another weather forecast here by Age Weather Forecast. As you guys can tell, this will be another tropical update here on Invest 90L, and soon Tropical Storm Arthur, very likely even Subtropical Storm Arthur. And we actually have major updates on the tracks, and I mean major. We actually may have a U.S. landfall. Models are indicating actually going over North Carolina and making landfall on the Mid-Atlantic. So this is absolutely crazy, and this would be extremely impressive to see a preseason U.S. landfall out of all the areas. So this is very, very, not rare, but this does not happen a lot. So this is actually huge updates. This definitely could bring a lot of flooding, very strong winds, and a lot of damage throughout parts of the Mid-Atlantic if this does possibly make landfall, which is actually very likely, as many models do indicate a U.S. landfall. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe. We aren't far from 2,310 subscribers, so please subscribe. Share the channel to any friend or family that you know that like tropics. But wow, it's going to be extremely fun to track. But this actually may make a U.S. landfall, which is something very impressive and not something we always see in May. So without further ado, let's get this tropical update here. Also, if you know anybody in the North Carolina coast, Virginia coast, Delaware coast, or New Jersey coast, or maybe even Maryland coast, please share the video to anybody that you really know in general that lives in the Mid-Atlantic, because this could definitely impact them a lot. So here we have our new update on the NHC. So here we have our X marks a spot of where the system is. So it is now moving up the Florida coast, and it has an 80% chance for the next 80 days to form as a subtropical storm. I think very likely to be a tropical storm Arthur. So this is basically our area of potential development. As you see, this circle continue to move to the west every single update. So here's where it's likely to form. I mostly say it'll form around at a tropical storm, most likely just right here, just above this other X. So I think they definitely shift this more to the west once again, but this is where we have our area of development, and it's very likely this could potentially become a name system within the next 12 to 24 hours. So this is a huge model track difference here. Look at this. All of these, almost 50% of the models show landfall and 50% just show just off the coast. But look at this. This is basically the track right here. It's basically like this for U.S. landfall. Look at that. This is exactly what we're going to be seeing here in the next 48 hours here. But look at this. It shows landfall for the outer banks of North Carolina, and then it actually shifts to the west right again, and that can possibly impact areas like D.C., Baltimore, Dover. So if you're in Delaware, if you're in Maryland, for the Virginia coast, maybe even New Jersey, you guys are definitely going to get impacted by this system here. And then the other 50% of the model do show it actually now shifting to the east, like most of the other models did indicate in the past couple of days. But the fact that every single update for the past 2 days they have shifted to the west, it means they are definitely very they really have a lot of confidence in this to actually get very close to landfall. So seems like in the next 48 hours you get very close, and then by the next 72 hours it'll make a landfall in part to the Mid-Atlantic. There, it's gonna be a very fast moving system in the next coming hours here. So this is very likely to become a tropical storm within the next 12 to 24 hours. And look, like it can make a landfall twice. It can make a landfall in North Carolina, then go up back into the Atlantic, and then make a landfall once again in the Mid-Atlantic. It'll either be like Virginia, Maryland, areas like Delaware, or New Jersey that will get hit for the second wave of landfall for this tropical storm Arthur. This is actually a major update, and if we have a tropical storm landfall in May, for not only is it uncommon to see landfalls in May before the season starts, this is actually extremely rare to see out of all the places the U.S. to have a landfall. It's not just moving up the coast. It can actually make a landfall not once but twice. And it's not just the Gulf. It's not the Gulf, or it's not Florida. This is going to be the Mid-Atlantic. Usually sometimes we don't have systems moving up those areas in a whole season. And if we do, it's later in the season, like way to September or October, or maybe even August. So this is absolutely crazy. So as you see, potential tropical storm within the next 12 hours to around the next 24 hours here. So very soon we'll see a huge another update here. But as you see, this could actually become a lot more models are indicating actually a pretty strong tropical storm here. As you see, they are going to be getting very. It's going to be a gradually strengthening, and it's going to pop up out of nowhere. And then some models actually show it now indicating a tropical storm a lot longer. So it's supposed to make a landfall in the next 72 hours for North Carolina. Look at this. This is actually going to be some models show it at its strongest in the next 72 hours, which is actually a bad indication. That means way more impact for North Carolina, and then could make landfall once again in between the next 72 to 84 hours, and it's still a very strong tropical storm to a moderate tropical storm. So, seems like we're definitely be seeing a strong strengthening. We're definitely not going to be seeing we're definitely not going to be seeing a Category 1 hurricane. But it seems like we're definitely seeing a moderate tropical storm to a strong tropical storm, more like a moderate tropical storm. But our highest is getting up to 60 knots there, which is around, I believe, 65 miles per hour. But the only really big difference here is that some models are indicating this becoming staying at a tropical storm a lot more. All the models yesterday showed it dipping down at like right in the next 108 hours or 96 hours. But now we have 4 models actually showing it continue gradually weakening, but staying as a tropical storm for a lot longer. So that does actually happen, we can be seeing a lot more impacts for inland areas as well. So let's go ahead and check out the GFS model here. So this is one of the models that are showing the landfall. So here we have in the next 6 hours, it's going to bring in a lot of rain throughout parts of the Gulf, parts of the coast of Florida, and continue to bring that heavy rain in the Bahamas. As we know, in the next 48 hours, it's going to get very, very close to North Carolina. Here we have the system right there. As I said, it's going to gradually strengthen with the next 48 hours. Now, by the next 72 hours, it's strengthened a lot, like out of nowhere, strengthened. Look at this. By the next 60 hours, we can have a landfall on the Outer Banks here at 999 millibars. It's going to bring extremely heavy rain throughout parts near Raleigh. Going to bring a lot of heavy rain for areas like Norfolk, Virginia Beach, the Outer Banks, Kitty Hawk, and then it does, of course, then it does leave North Carolina. It once again gets back in the Atlantic, and then possibly makes landfall again on possibly, most likely, Delaware. The GFS is actually showing it going, not dipping to Virginia or Maryland, but it's going straight up the coast, so going straight over Delaware, and could possibly now dip in and possibly make a landfall now in between New Jersey and Delaware, right on this little ocean right here. It could possibly go straight through that, and that can possibly bring extremely heavy downpours for New York City. And this thing's gonna this is gonna stay here all the way by Wednesday. By the 20th, this is still going to be here, bringing a ton of rain. Like we saw here, some models are showing it staying as a system, a tropical storm, a lot longer. And here, then it should possibly, it's going to continue bringing rain all the way to May 23rd. We can be seeing 5+ days of just pure rain in parts of the Northeast because of this system. So this is not, it may not be a tropical storm for when it makes landfall, or when it will be a tropical storm when it makes landfall. If it does make landfall, obviously, I can't say it is going to make landfall, but if it does make landfall, but it's definitely going to bring a lot of rain for inland areas, even though they may not be seeing tropical storm force winds in inland areas like Pennsylvania or West Virginia, but we're going to be seeing a ton of flooding in these areas. Let's go and check out the CMC model here for those people who want to see multiple models here. And CMC is also showing this. So in the next 36 hours, here we have the CMC bringing it at 1,007 millibars. So it's very gradually weakening, gradually strengthening. So now we're going to be seeing getting to 1,006 millibars and 1,004. But look, right before it makes landfall here, or actually the CMC is actually showing just outside of that, but possibly going to strengthen at 1,001 millibars, and this is still going to possibly bring in very close to the Outer Banks there, and then still gradually going to bring in a lot of rain throughout the parts of the Northeast, or parts of the Northern Atlantic. And then if we look at, of course, it's going to get very, very close to making landfall, but for the CMC, it's still showing impacting with the possibly the outer bands and getting close to the eye wall. As we now look into the icon models, you actually see the icon here. This is also going to be showing getting the icon is also showing it making landfall. So basically, CMC is the only one that's not really showing landfall, and that actually makes sense because CMC has always been showing it all the way to the east. So maybe if we get closer, a bit closer, maybe the next update it will get a lot closer, or possibly show landfall. And the icon's also showing landfall. So GFS and icon, CMC is really the only one that's just missing. But again, the next update can possibly move to the west just a tad and then make landfall. So here we're going to be seeing this strengthening a lot over North Carolina. Going to definitely bring landfall for parts of the Outer Banks here. You see this low pressure system going right over these areas of the Outer Banks. And then this should be good up the east coast, or the coast like the GFS. It's a GFS is actually showing going in between New Jersey and Delaware, right here. But the CMC is going, the icon is going just to the coast. But icon is still showing that landfall for North Carolina, but could definitely bring in a extremely heavy rain for parts of the Mid-Atlantic still. So that's what we're looking at there. Let's go and check out the winds for the GFS. So here we have in the coming hours, here we have all these really strong winds, these outer bands as well. And as we look in the next 48 hours, we're going to be seeing around 28 to 32 knots. So very weak at this point, but right when it goes over landfall, we're going to be seeing up to 36 knots here. Outer Banks can be seeing the 28 knots. Parts of Virginia can be seeing 28 knots. And look at this massive system here. And the GFS is actually showing this becoming a monster for the areas. For these areas, can possibly see up to 48 knots. Look, it's possibly going to bring in a ton of winds for the New Jersey coast. Can be seeing 36 plus knots, and then for parts of Long Island, can possibly see 40 knots as well. So this is definitely bringing extremely windy conditions, and that is not going to be good with all of that rain. Let's go ahead and check out the CMC winds here. I've actually yet to check the CMC winds, but the CMC, of course, is still showing some strong winds going just off the coast of North Carolina, and then strengthening a lot more off the coast there. So basically, it's not guaranteed the landfall, but it's likely we can possibly have a landfall. So in the next 48 hours here on Vorticity, here we have the system getting very close to the North Carolina coast, and then boom, makes landfall right over the Outer Banks and the islands of North Carolina, and possibly just east of Raleigh, and then it does indicating going straight through New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So this is definitely bringing a lot of winds and a lot of cyclonic rotation there for parts of Pennsylvania, New Jersey. So going to be going straight through that New Jersey area of Delaware. Based on the GFS, it's going to be going right through this area. So definitely also impacting Pennsylvania a lot. So this is not something you see at May whatsoever, but definitely going to be seeing the indication here. And then last thing we'll be looking at is the precipitation. So here we have this is basically where we have it right now, and it's going to be shifting this way, and then boom. That's with the GFS. So this is GFS accumulated precipitation. We can possibly have a ton of precipitation next coming days. This is all right. This is all right here. All of this is from this is all from Arthur. So a ton of rain. We can be seeing possibly the coast of Virginia and North Carolina, which get the first landfall, 2.5 to possibly 4.5 inches, and then when it gets to New Jersey in the northeast, we're going to be seeing a lot more rain in those areas. Can possibly see up to 6+ inches, and these accumulated precipitation might actually go up, possibly again 7 to 8 inches for parts of New Jersey. New York City can get a ton of flooding. Look at parts of West Virginia, 4+ inches of rain. So definitely a lot of widespread flooding likely. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and bye guys.